Xiao Feng unexpectedly travels to the world of tomb raiding notes and becomes wuxie. In the perilous tomb, he overcame challenges such as Zongzi with wisdom and courage, and gradually adapted and became confident. In the end, he opened the sarcophagus but triggered the self-destruct mechanism, narrowly escaping and returning to the real world. Xiao Feng delves into the knowledge of tomb raiding and participates in archaeological work. He never forgets his adventurous mission and plans to enter the world of tomb raiding again, embrace unknown challenges, become legendary figures, and constantly grow through exploration. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Zongzi in Ancient Tombs, Run. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Feng suddenly woke up, and everything around him became unfamiliar and familiar. He found himself lying in a dark ancient tomb, covered in a thin layer of dust. He struggled to sit up, surrounded by a suffocating and dull atmosphere, as if the entire space was suffocated by the weight of history. He looked down and was surprised to find himself wearing a tight black suit, with an antique dagger hanging from his waist. He instantly understood that he had crossed into the world of tomb raiding notes, becoming the brave and cunning wuxie. He suddenly stood up, surrounded by pitch black, with only a faint candle flickering in the distance. He walked in the direction of the candlelight, feeling an inexplicable sense of tension in his heart. He knew that he was in a dangerous tomb, and every step might trigger an unknown mechanism, or even encounter a terrible Zongzi. He walked cautiously when he suddenly heard a deep roar coming from ahead. He tightened his heart and quickly hid behind a huge rock, carefully sticking his head out. I saw a huge Zongzi wandering in front, its eyes flashing ferocious light, as if it could see everything. Xiao Feng took a deep breath. He knew he had to find a way to deal with the Zongzi. He quickly drew a dagger from his waist and decided to adopt a surprise attack tactic. He rushed out and stabbed Zongzi's eyes with all his strength. Zongzi let out a scream and fell to the ground. Xiao Feng breathed a sigh of relief, but he knew it was just the tip of the iceberg in the ancient tomb. He continued on, encountering various mechanisms and traps along the way, each time narrowly turning danger into safety. He gradually adapted to the rules of this world, becoming more proficient and confident. Finally, he arrived at the depths of the ancient tomb. There is a huge stone coffin here, which is said to contain an ancient emperor. Xiao Feng's heart was filled with curiosity and tension. He slowly opened the lid of the sarcophagus and saw a well-preserved corpse lying inside. He wore a golden mask on his face and a magnificent dragon robe on his body, as if he were a true emperor. Xiao Feng couldn't help but reach out to touch the corpse, and suddenly felt a chill coming from his fingertips. He suddenly withdrew his hand and saw that his fingers were covered in blood. He took a few steps back in panic and suddenly noticed that the entire ancient tomb began to shake violently. He realized that the self-destruction mechanism of the ancient tomb had been activated. He quickly ran towards the exit, but the road was already blocked. He looked around and found that there was only one narrow passage leading to the outside world. He didn't hesitate to dive in, feeling his body being pushed forward by a powerful force. Finally, he saw the light again. He found himself back in the real world, but his heart was filled with shock and emotion. He understood that although the world of tomb raiding notes was thrilling, the real adventure and challenge had just begun. He took a deep breath and prepared to face the challenges of the future. Xiao Feng stood on the familiar street, feeling the cool breeze brushing against his cheeks. He knew he was no longer the ordinary Xiao Feng, but the adventurous wuxie who had experienced countless dangers. He took a deep breath, feeling the strength in his body, ready to face the challenges of the future. In the following days, Xiao Feng began to study the secrets and history in the tomb raiding notes. He found himself gaining a deeper understanding of ancient tombs and cultural relics, and even began to participate in some archaeological excavations. He used his wisdom and courage to help the archaeological team solve one problem after another, becoming a hero in the eyes of everyone. However, Xiao Feng did not forget his mission. He knew that there were still countless mysteries and crises in the world of tomb raiding notes, waiting for him to explore and solve. So he began planning his next adventure, preparing to enter that world full of adventure and excitement again. During Xiao Feng's adventure, he encountered various challenges and crises. Sometimes he needs to face fierce Zongzi traps, and sometimes he needs to solve complex puzzles and mechanisms. But no matter what difficulties he encounters, he is able to successfully turn danger into safety with his own wisdom and courage. In each adventure, Xiao Feng gradually became a legendary figure in the world of tomb raiding notes. His deeds have been praised in every corner, and his name has become a hero in the hearts of countless people. And he also grew and transformed in this process, becoming stronger and more mature. However, Xiao Feng also understood that his adventure was far from over. He knows that the world of tomb raiding notes still hides countless secrets and crises, waiting for him to discover and solve. So he continued to move forward, exploring, challenging, and growing on the unknown path. Chapter 2. Go to the 7-star Lu Palace with the fatty brother. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Xiao Feng gradually accepted the fact that he had become Wuxia. He stood in front of the mirror, gazing at the familiar and unfamiliar face. Wuxia, this name was once just a character in his novels, but now it has become his true identity. He is no longer the ordinary literary writer Xiao Feng, but the adventurer Wuxia with a mysterious mission. He knew that the reason why he became Wuxia was by no means accidental. He must find his little brother Zongzi and the chubby guy. The three of them were once the iron triangle in the novel, and now they will also be real adventure partners. After some twists and turns, Xiao Feng finally found Zongzi and Fatty. When they learned that Xiao Feng was Wuxia, they were all shocked. But Wuxia didn't have time to explain too much. He bluntly said, "We need to go to the 7-star Lu Palace together. I have a premonition that there is a secret to our transformation hidden there." Zongzi and Fatty exchanged a glance. Although their hearts were full of doubts, they decided to follow Wuxia out of trust. The 7-star Lu King Palace is located in a remote mountain range, surrounded by dense forests. The three of them walked through the forest, occasionally hearing the roar of wild beasts, which was chilling. They clenched their weapons and cautiously advanced. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew by, and the leaves rustled, as if something was peeping at them in the dark. Wuxia's heart tightened as he whispered, "Be careful, something's wrong here." Sure enough, as soon as the words fell, a black shadow shot out of the bushes and rushed straight towards them. Zongzi reacted quickly and waved the iron rod in his hand to repel the black shadow. But they didn't let their guard down because they knew it was just the beginning. They continued on and soon arrived at the entrance of the 7-star Lu Palace. The ancient palace looked particularly eerie under the moonlight, as if it would wake up from its slumber at any moment. Wuxia took a deep breath and walked into the palace first. Zongzi and Fatty followed closely behind, and the three of them leaned tightly together, afraid of getting separated. The palace was pitch black, with only the flashlights in their hands emitting a faint light. They walked down the stone steps step by step, with occasional dripping sounds and strange roars in their ears, which were chilling. Suddenly, the stone steps beneath their feet shook violently, as if something was awakening. Wuxia's heart tightened as he shouted, "Run!" The three of them rushed forward quickly, but the vibration behind them became increasingly intense, as if something was chasing them. They dare not turn back and can only run forward with all their might. After running for an unknown amount of time, they finally arrived at a spacious hall. There is a huge stone statue in the center of the hall, holding a long sword with its tip pointing straight towards the ceiling. Wuxia carefully observed the stone statue and suddenly found a stone slab at the foot of the statue, with some strange symbols carved on it. He moved his heart and walked forward to touch those symbols. At this moment, the entire hall suddenly shook, and the long sword in the stone statue's hand began to emit a dazzling light. Wu Xie understood in his heart that they had found the key. But just then, a roar of anger came from deep in the hall, and then a huge figure rushed out of the darkness. That is a huge monster, covered in scales all over, with a fierce gleam in its eyes. Zhang Qiling and Fatty immediately welcomed the monster and engaged in a fierce battle. Wu Xie continued to study the symbols on the slate, trying to find a way to relieve the transformation. The battle was extremely fierce, and although Zhang Qiling and Fat Man were incredibly brave, their monster power was immense, and they gradually fell into a bitter battle. Wu Xie was extremely anxious in his heart, and he must find a way to relieve the transformation as soon as possible, otherwise all three of them could have died here. At this moment, he suddenly noticed a symbol on the slate that was different from others. He tried to touch the symbol with his hand, and suddenly, the entire hall shook again. A strong light shot out from the long sword in the stone statue's hand, directly hitting the monster. The monster let out a scream and fell to the ground motionless. Wu Xie took the opportunity to run to the monster's side and carefully observed its body. He noticed a mark on the monster's chest that matched the symbol on the slate, and his heart immediately understood. He returned to the slate and touched the special symbol with his hand, whispering, "With my blood, I will unravel your curse." As soon as he finished speaking, a sharp pain suddenly came from his chest, as if something was sucking his blood. But he ignored the pain and continued to recite the spell. As he recited the spell, he felt his body gradually become lighter, and the feeling of being bound slowly disappeared. When he finished reciting the last spell, his body finally returned to normal. He excitedly turned around to look at Zhang Qiling and the chubby guy, and found that they had also returned to their original state. The three of them looked at each other and smiled, their joy unable to be expressed in words. They knew that although this adventure was thrilling, it also brought them valuable friendships and growth. They decided to continue exploring the unknown world, seeking more secrets and adventures. The exploration experience of the 7-star Lu Palace will also become an unforgettable memory in their lives. Chapter 3. Guardian Beasts in the Forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The air outside is still very good, with a fresh breeze brushing against my cheeks, carrying a faint earthy fragrance. Xiao Feng, or now Wu Xie, took a deep breath as if trying to suck away all the fear and oppression. He looked at the young man and the fat man beside him, both of whom had a sense of relief and exhaustion from the disaster on their faces. "We have finally come out," Wu Xie said softly, with a hint of trembling in his voice. The little brother nodded, his eyes flickering with determination and depth. "Yes, we escaped." The chubby man, on the other hand, had a look of happiness on his face. He patted his belly and smiled, "I'm lucky to be in such a haunted place." Wu Xie smiled slightly, but he understood in his heart that being able to escape Xingtian this time was a stroke of luck. The expedition to the 7-star Lu Palace can be said to be the most thrilling and terrifying experience for the three of them in their lifetime. When they entered the 7-star Lu Palace, they thought it would be a treasure hunt adventure, but they didn't expect that what awaited them was endless terror and danger. Those eerie mechanisms, vicious traps, and those terrifying monsters almost killed them. However, they did not give up, but relied on each other's trust and cooperation to overcome life and death time and time again. In the perilous 7-star Lu King Palace, they supported each other and faced difficulties together, ultimately successfully escaping from this ghostly palace. Recalling those thrilling moments, Wu Xie still felt waves of fear in his heart. However, he also knew that although this adventure was thrilling and exciting, it also deepened their friendship. They are no longer mere partners, but true life and death acquaintances. "Wu Xie, look ahead," the young man suddenly said. Wu Xie looked up and saw a dense forest not far ahead. Strange sounds came from the forest, as if something was secretly peeping at them. "Let's be careful," Wu Xie whispered, while gripping the dagger in his hand. The fat man also nervously looked around, and his fat seemed to be trembling. "This place is very sinister, let's leave quickly," he said. The little brother nodded and walked forward first. His steps were steady and powerful, as if he could still remain calm and confident in this perilous environment. Wuxia and Fatty followed closely behind, and the three of them advanced in a pinyin shape, vigilantly observing the movements around them. The sound in the forest grew louder and louder, as if something was approaching. Wuxia's heartbeat also accelerated, and he knew that they must leave this place as soon as possible. Suddenly, a black shadow emerged from the forest and rushed directly towards Wuxia. He reacted quickly and dodged the attack on one side. At the same time, he also saw the true face of the attacker. A huge black leopard. "No, it's a guardian beast," Wuxia exclaimed in surprise. The little brother and the fat man immediately became alert, quickly forming a small circle to prepare for the fierce leopard. The leopard roared, revealing its sharp fangs, and once again charged towards Wuxia. Wuxia rolled and dodged the attack, while waving his dagger to stab the leopard. However, the leopard's speed was extremely fast, and Wuxia's attack did not work. On the contrary, the leopard shook its head and directly bit Wuxia's arm. Ah! Wuxia let out a scream, feeling a sharp pain coming from him. He exerted all his strength to break free from the leopard's bite and retreated to the side of the little brother and the fat man. "Wuxia, are you okay?" the young man asked nervously. Wuxia shook his head and turned pale. "I'm fine, I just got a slight injury," he said. The fat man had an angry expression on his face and said, "This beast is too arrogant, we must take it down." As he spoke, the fat man waved his iron rod and rushed towards the leopard. However, the leopard was exceptionally cunning. It flexibly dodged the fat man's attack and once again charged towards Wuxia. Wuxia's heart tightened as he knew he couldn't hide anymore. He took a deep breath, tightly grasped the dagger in his hand, and faced the leopard's attack. At this critical moment of life and death, a hint of determination and courage flashed in Wuxia's eyes. He is no longer the timid Xiao Feng, but has become the brave Wuxia. He needs to use his own strength and wisdom to protect himself and the people around him. The dagger collided with the leopard's fangs, emitting a crisp metallic collision sound. Wuxia used all his strength and finally pushed the leopard back a few steps. However, the leopard did not give up, it roared and rushed forward again. Wuxia did not flinch, he welcomed the leopard and engaged in a fierce battle. Their figures flickered rapidly in the forest, and every attack and defense was full of danger and excitement. The little brother and the fat man were not idle either, constantly searching for opportunities to attack the leopard. However, leopards are extremely fast and their attacks are always ineffective. Just as the three of them were in a difficult situation, a strong light suddenly shot from deep in the forest. The leopard seemed to be disturbed by the strong light, stopped attacking, turned around, and fled towards the depths of the forest. Wuxia and his companions took the opportunity to retreat to the source of the light, only to see a stone gate appear in front of them. The stone gate is engraved with mysterious runes and patterns, emitting a mysterious atmosphere. "It seems that this is the entrance to the next room," the young man observed the stone door and said. Wuxia nodded and said, "Let's go in quickly. It's too dangerous here." The fat man nodded in agreement and said, "That's right, we need to leave this damn place quickly." The three of them carefully pushed open the stone door and saw a spacious room inside. The room was filled with various strange utensils and items, as well as symbols and patterns they had never seen before. "It seems that this is the core area of the 7-star Lu Palace," the young man guessed. Wuxia and Fatty also realized this and began to carefully observe every item and symbol in the room. They know that only by solving these puzzles and mechanisms can they find the true treasure. However, they also understand that this process will be even more difficult and dangerous. But they are ready, they must use their wisdom and courage to solve these puzzles and find the true treasure. In this way, the three of them embarked on an adventure once again. They shuttled through mysterious rooms, searching for clues and mechanisms. Every discovery makes them feel excited and nervous, and every challenge deepens their understanding of each other. In the end, after experiencing countless dangers and challenges, they finally found the treasure. That is a gem with a mysterious glow, said to possess endless power and wealth. However, when they were preparing to leave the 7-star Lu King Palace, they found that the exit had already been blocked. They must face those terrifying monsters and mechanisms again in order to find a way out. But Wu Xia and his 3 companions are no longer the same as before. They have gone through too many trials and tribulations of life and death, and have become stronger and braver. They believe that as long as they unite and work together, they will definitely be able to overcome all difficulties and find a way out. Chapter 4. The blocked stone gate finally comes out. You are listening at novel full.audio. Xiao Feng is now accustomed to being called Wu Xia by others. He knows that this name represents a brand new identity, an explorer full of unknowns and dangers. He, along with his younger brother and chubby guy, returned to the 7-star Lu Palace once again. This time, their goal was to find an exit and leave this eerie and terrifying place. The interior of the 7-star Lu Palace is dim and gloomy, with mottled moss covering the stone walls and suffocating heaviness permeating the air. The 3 of them walked cautiously, each step cautiously, afraid of startling any terrifying creatures hidden in the dark. Suddenly, they found that the originally spacious passage was blocked not far ahead. A thick stone gate stretches ahead, covered in complex patterns and symbols, appearing exceptionally mysterious. What's going on here? What's going on? The fat man asked nervously, his voice echoing in the open passage, appearing particularly harsh. Wu Xia frowned and carefully observed the patterns on the stone door. He had seen similar symbols in ancient books, which seemed to be an ancient sealing technique. This is sealing technique. It seems that this door has been sealed, Wu Xia whispered, revealing an indescribable sense of tension in his voice. What should we do now? The young man asked, his eyes flashing with determination. Wu Xia took a deep breath. He knew they were in danger now, but he couldn't let fear take the upper hand. He said in a deep voice, "We must find a way to lift the seal, otherwise we will never be able to leave here." The 3 of them began to search for clues separately, carefully observing around the stone gate, hoping to find some clues. Suddenly, Wu Xia noticed a strange phenomenon. The patterns on the stone gate seemed to be slightly glowing, and as time passed, the light became stronger and stronger. "Look, these patterns are shining!" Wu Xia exclaimed in surprise. The young man and the fat man immediately gathered around, and they also saw this strange phenomenon. Wu Xia speculated that this might be related to lifting the seal, so they began to try to break the seal according to the changes in the pattern's radiance. However, things are not as simple as imagined. They tried various methods, but the stone gate remained tightly closed. As time passed, the 3 of them began to feel hopeless. Do they really want to be trapped in this terrifying place and never be able to leave? Just as they were about to give up, Wu Xia suddenly discovered a detail. He noticed that the luminescence of one of the patterns was different from the others, as if hiding some secret. He immediately told the young man and the fat man about this discovery, and the 3 of them began to study this pattern. After some effort, they finally discovered the key to breaking the seal. Originally, this special pattern was a mechanism that could only be unsealed by touching it in the correct order. Wu Xia took a deep breath and cautiously walked forward, triggering the mechanism in the order they had speculated. At this moment, the stone gate suddenly began to vibrate, emitting a deafening roar. The 3 of them nervously held their breath and saw the stone gate slowly open. A dazzling light shot out from behind the door, illuminating the entire passage. "We succeeded," the fat man exclaimed excitedly, and they finally found the exit. However, just as they were about to step out of the stone gate, a cold wind suddenly blew from behind the door, mixed with a heart-stopping roar. The 3 of them immediately raised their weapons with vigilance, ready to deal with the impending danger. They walked out of the stone gate and saw a huge underground palace in front of them. The interior of the palace was dark and gloomy, with a suffocating and gloomy atmosphere permeating the air. In the center of the palace, a huge black figure was slowly approaching them. "What is this? What is this?" the fat man asked in terror, his voice filled with fear. Wuxia and the young man also nervously stared at the black figure, knowing that the final battle of this expedition was about to begin. The three of them stood back to back, vigilantly observing the black figure. It seems to be an ancient creature, emitting a palpitating aura. Its eyes sparkled with red light, as if it could see through all disguise. Wuxia took a deep breath, knowing that they must unite now to defeat this terrifying creature. He whispered to the little brother and the fat man, "We must cooperate in order to defeat it." The young man and the fat man nodded, their eyes shining with determination. They know that Wuxia is right. Only by uniting can we defeat the enemy in front of us. The three of them began to approach the black figure cautiously, trying to find its weakness. However, this creature seems to be very sensitive, and every attack they make is easily dodged by it. As time passed, the three of them began to gradually deplete their physical strength. They know that if this continues, they are likely to be consumed by this creature. We must come up with a way to defeat it. At this moment, Wuxia suddenly discovered a detail. He noticed a strange symbol on this creature, which seemed to be related to the sealing technique they had previously cracked. He immediately told the young man and the fat man about this discovery, and the three of them began to study around this symbol. After some effort, they finally discovered the weakness of this creature. Originally, that symbol was a fatal weakness, and only by attacking this weakness can we defeat this creature. Wuxia took a deep breath, knowing that he had to step forward for the sake of the little brother and the fat guy, and for them to successfully leave this place. He held a weapon and resolutely launched an attack on that weakness. Just as his weapon was about to touch that weakness, the creature suddenly let out a deafening roar, and its body began to vibrate violently. However, Wuxia did not back down. He gritted his teeth and continued to attack that weakness. Finally, his weapon touched the weakness, and a powerful force emanated from the symbol, directly penetrating the body of the creature. The creature let out a scream and fell to the ground motionless. "We succeeded," the fat man exclaimed excitedly as they finally defeated the terrifying creature. Wuxia also breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that they could finally leave this terrifying place now. He turned his head to look at the little brother and the fat man, their eyes filled with joy and gratitude. The three cheered as they finally overcame all the difficulties and successfully left the 7-star Lu Palace. They know that the experience of this expedition will forever be engraved in their hearts, becoming an unforgettable page in their lives. Chapter 5. The Mysterious Man's Phone, from the 7-star Lu Palace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Feng felt that he had become Wuxia now, and from now on, there was only one name left. He closed his eyes, as if he could still feel the eerie depths of the 7-star Lu Palace, with those creepy scenes haunting him like nightmares. The young man and the fat man returned, bringing back some gains from the 7-star Lu King Palace, but also a body full of fatigue and fear. Xiao Feng looked at them and understood in his heart that this adventure had been deeply imprinted in their hearts and could not be erased. However, their return did not bring peace and tranquility, but instead triggered a bigger storm. Upon learning about their expedition, Uncle San became furious and loudly rebuked Wuxia, saying, "You stinky kid, you dare to go on an adventure without authorization. Do you know how dangerous it is there? You almost can't come back." Wuxia lowered his head and remained silent. He knew his mistake, but he knew better that during their exploration of the 7-star Lu Palace, they had experienced many thrilling and exciting things, and also discovered some amazing secrets. These secrets are enough to shock the whole world, and he cannot give up easily. Uncle San's anger gradually subsided, and he took a deep breath as he looked at Wuxia and said, "I know you have gone through many things and discovered some secrets. But now, you are not strong enough to deal with those dangers. You need to work harder to cultivate yourself and improve your strength." Wuxia nodded, knowing that Uncle San was telling the truth. Although they gained a lot from this expedition, they also paid a huge price. They need to work harder to cultivate and improve their strength in order to better cope with future challenges. In the following days, Xia, along with his younger brother and chubby guy, began to practice even harder. They constantly hone their bodies, improve their skills, and explore the secrets of the 7-star Lu King Palace. However, as they gradually adapted to this kind of cultivation life, a sudden crisis shattered the calm. One night, they received a mysterious phone call claiming to know some secrets in the 7-star Lu King Palace and hoping to cooperate with them. Xia, the little brother, and the chubby guy exchanged a glance and understood in their hearts that this was likely the breakthrough they had been searching for. They decided to go meet and see what this mysterious person really knew. However, they did not expect that this mysterious person would actually be the leader of an extremely terrifying organization. This organization has been studying the secrets in the 7-star Lu Palace, attempting to use these secrets to control the entire world. They learned about the identities and experiences of Xia and others, and decided to use them to achieve their goals. Xia, his little brother, and the chubby guy were in danger, constantly being chased and besieged, seemingly unable to escape the control of this terrifying organization. However, they did not give up, constantly searching for opportunities to escape and exploring the secrets in the 7-star Lu King Palace. By chance, they discovered a secret chamber hidden deep in the 7-star Lu Palace. There is a shocking secret hidden in this secret room, which is enough to destroy the entire terrorist organization. Xia, along with his younger brother and chubby guy, decided to venture into the secret room and search for this secret. Chapter 6. Uncle strongly oppose. You are listening at novel full.audio. Xia didn't know why third uncle was so against him. He sat in the study, holding the phone in his hand, and his ear was filled with third uncle's anxious voice, filled with worry and helplessness. Xia, listen to me. You can't go to the 7-star Lu King's palace anymore. It's too dangerous there. Uncle San's voice was serious and firm. Xia frowned. He didn't feel any danger in the 7-star Lu Palace, but instead felt that it was full of mystery and attraction. He looked at the little brother and chubby guy next to him, and they also looked confused and puzzled. Third uncle, we have already been there once, there is no danger, Xia tried to reassure third uncle. You don't know, there's a secret room there that hides something that nobody can know. Uncle San's voice suddenly became low and mysterious. Chamber of Secrets. What is it? Xia's curiosity was aroused, and he felt that he had to go and explore the truth. I can't tell you, anyway you can't go there anymore. Uncle San's voice was filled with helplessness and concern. Xia hung up the phone and looked at the young man and the fat man, knowing that they were also full of curiosity and adventurous spirit. Let's go to the 7-star Lu Palace, Xia said of his own thoughts. The young man and the fat man exchanged a glance and then nodded. They knew that once Xia made a decision, it would be difficult for him to change his mind. They arrived at the 7-star Lu Palace again, and this time they were even more cautious, afraid of missing any important clues. They were walking step by step when suddenly they heard a deep roar, and they immediately raised their weapons with caution. What sound is it? The fat man asked. I don't know, but we need to be careful, Xia said, continuing to move forward. They arrived at a door, which was set with 7 gemstones, emitting a faint light. Xia pushed open the door and they arrived at a secret room filled with various mysterious cultural relics and utensils. Is this the Chamber of Secrets? The young man asked. Xia nodded and walked up to a cultural relic, carefully observing it. Suddenly, he felt a chill coming over him. He turned around and saw a huge black monster rushing towards them. They immediately engaged in a fierce battle, with Xia and the young man waving their weapons, while the fat man was responsible for protecting them from monster attacks. After a fierce battle, they finally defeated the monster, but at this moment, the artifacts in the secret room began to emit a strong light, illuminating the entire room. "What is this thing?" the fat man asked in surprise. Xia walked up to the cultural relics and carefully observed them. Suddenly, he exclaimed in surprise, "This is the elixir of immortality. The elixir of immortality." The young man and the fat man looked at Xia in surprise. "That's right, this is the legendary elixir of immortality," Xia said, picking up the medicine bottle and seeing a crystal-clear pill inside. "What should we do?" the young man asked. After a moment of silence, Xia said, "We must destroy this thing and not let it fall into the hands of bad people." They left the Chamber of Secrets, preparing to leave the 7-star Lu Palace. However, just as they walked out of the palace gate, they found Third Uncle standing at the door, looking at them with a gloomy expression on his face. Chapter 7. Fake Third Uncle. Destroy drugs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia didn't know what Third Uncle was hiding from him, but he could feel that there must be an unknown secret behind it. He stood at the exit of the 7-star Lu Palace, looking at the Third Uncle in front of him, filled with doubts and unease in his heart. "Third Uncle, how could you be here?" Xia asked with a slight tremble in his voice. Uncle San didn't answer, just silently looked at him, with a complex light shining in his eyes. Xia couldn't help feeling a chill, as if something was peering at him in the darkness. Suddenly, a strange sound came, causing Xia's heart to accelerate. He turned his head and saw the fat man and the young man running towards him, panting heavily, with a look of fear on their faces. "Xia, run quickly!" The fat man shouted and grabbed Xia's hand. "What's wrong?" Xia asked, but the chubby man just grabbed his hand tightly and didn't speak. The young man pointed at Uncle San and trembled as he said, He's not our Uncle San." Xia was shocked in his heart and turned his head to see that Third Uncle had become completely unrecognizable, emitting a nauseating stench. His eyes turned blood red, and a cruel smile hung at the corner of his mouth. "You shouldn't have come here," Uncle San's voice became hoarse and cold. "There's something here that you can't imagine." Xia felt a wave of fear in his heart, knowing that they were already in danger. He tightly grasped the fat man's hand, trying to stay calm. "We must destroy those elixirs of immortality," said Xia with a firm and decisive voice. Uncle gave a sneer and remained silent. But Xia could feel that his breath became even colder and more terrifying. He knew they had to act quickly, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. Xia, along with the fat man and the young man, carefully returned to the secret room of the 7-star Lu Palace. They have found those elixirs of immortality and are preparing to destroy them. But just then, Uncle San suddenly appeared behind them and snatched those medicine bottles. "Do you want to destroy these?" "Huh, that's too naive," Third Uncle sneered. "These elixirs of immortality are my lifelong efforts. Do you think you can easily destroy them?" Xia's heart tightened as he knew they had no way out. He stared closely at Uncle San, trying to find a breakthrough. Suddenly, he noticed a noticeable scar on Uncle San's ankle. He was moved in his heart and came up with a plan. "Third Uncle, why is there a wound on your ankle?" Xia asked, trying to distract Third Uncle's attention. Uncle San was taken aback for a moment, not expecting Xia to notice this detail. He looked down and saw that the wound on his ankle had begun to bleed. Xia took the opportunity to rush forward and snatched away those medicine bottles. He smashed fiercely towards the ground, shattering the medicine bottle and splashing the liquid inside. Uncle San roared angrily and rushed towards Xia. But Xia was already prepared. He dodged the attack of the Third Uncle and kicked towards his wound. Uncle let out a scream and fell to the ground. Xia took the opportunity to rush forward and twisted his neck with all his strength. Uncle San's body fell to the ground, and Xia panted heavily, feeling a wave of weakness. He knew that they had successfully destroyed those elixirs of immortality, but this adventure also cost them a huge price. The fat man and the young man ran over and helped Wuxia up. They looked at the body of their third uncle, filled with fear and sorrow in their hearts. Did we succeed? The fat man asked, his voice trembling slightly. Wuxia nodded and forced out a smile. We have succeeded, he said. We have protected the world and also protected ourselves. They stood silently at the exit of the 7-star Lu Palace, feeling the sunshine and air outside. Although the adventure has ended, their hearts are still filled with tension and fear. They know that there are still many unknown dangers and challenges waiting for them in this world. But no matter what, they will walk steadfastly to protect this world. The exploration of the 7-star Lu Palace has ended, but the adventure journey of Wuxia, Fat Man, and Little Brother continues. They continue to search for unknown dangers and challenges in this world, protecting it with their courage and wisdom. Chapter 8. Is Everything a Dream? Unleash the Curse. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wuxia had another dream. He stood in front of a huge stone gate, with intricate patterns on the door, as if hiding some unfathomable secret. He took a deep breath and gently pushed open the stone door. Facing him was a pitch-black, bottomless expanse. Wuxia, you're here. A deep voice echoed in the darkness, and Wuxia's heart tightened. He saw the familiar figure. The little brother. Little brother, where is this? Wuxia asked with a slight tremble in his voice. This is the secret of the 7-star Lu Palace, and also the truth behind your third uncle's disappearance, said the young man, walking forward, followed closely by Wuxia. They walked through the dark corridor and encountered various eerie mechanisms and traps along the way, each time extremely thrilling. Wuxia's heart became increasingly tense, and he felt as if he was trapped in an uncontrollable vortex of terror. Wuxia, look here, the young man pointed to an ancient mural on the wall and said. Wuxia took a closer look and found that the mural depicted the exploration process of the three of them, with every detail vivid, as if they were experiencing it firsthand. What's going on? Wuxia asked, her heart full of doubts. We are caught up in an ancient curse, and only by unraveling this curse can we find the trace of Uncle San, said the young man, pointing to a place in the mural. Wuxia looked in the direction of the little brother's finger and found a mysterious symbol appearing on the mural, with a dim light emanating from around the symbol. What does this symbol mean? Wuxia asked. This is the core of the curse, only by finding it and unraveling it can we break free from it, said the young man, starting to search for clues to the symbol. They continued their exploration and encountered various strange difficulties and tests along the way. Each time, it was the young man who used his wisdom and courage to resolve the crisis. Wuxia was deeply impressed by the young man's bravery and wisdom, and he began to be curious and awe-stricken by this mysterious world. Finally, they found the mysterious symbol hidden on a huge stone platform, surrounded by strong light. Wuxia and the young man approached the stone platform cautiously and found an ancient text carved on it, revealing a deep evil and curse. This is the core of the curse, we must unravel it to find Uncle San, the young man said, starting to study the text on the stone platform. Wuxia looked nervously at the young man, his heart filled with unease and worry. He felt as if he was in an unknown world, with every step filled with danger and challenges. But he also knew that only by facing these difficulties with the little brother can he find the trace of the third uncle and unlock this curse. The young man studied for a while and finally found a way to understand the curse. He took out a dagger and cut his own finger, blood dripping onto the stone platform. Wuxia was filled with shock and emotion as he watched this scene. He knew that the young man would sacrifice his own life to break the curse. As the young man's blood dripped onto the stone platform, a mysterious light began to flicker, and the entire space was filled with strong vibrations. Wuxia tightly grasped the little brother's hand as they faced this unknown challenge together. Finally, with their unremitting efforts, the curse was lifted. Wuxia and the younger brother saw the figure of the third uncle, who was trapped in a mysterious magic formation and couldn't extricate himself. They quickly rushed over and rescued Uncle San. Uncle San looked at them with gratitude and relief in his eyes. He told them that he had been trapped in this formation for a long time and had not found a way to unlock it. It was not until they lifted the curse that he was able to regain his freedom. Chapter 9. Escape from the Curse. You are listening at novel full.audio. Wuxia couldn't understand his current situation clearly, and everything around him was pitch black, as if devoured by endless darkness. He tried to struggle, but his body seemed to be bound by an invisible force, unable to move. The heartbeat sounded rapidly in his ears, each beat as if reminding him that the distance between life and death was only a thin line. Suddenly, a faint light pierced through the darkness. Wuxia struggled to open his eyes and saw the young man and the fat man standing not far away, their faces filled with nervousness and worry. Wuxia, are you okay? The young man's voice trembled slightly, but remained firm. Wuxia wanted to answer, but found that his throat seemed to be blocked by something and could only make a faint voice. I'm fine. The fat man walked over and patted Wuxia's shoulder, saying, "Don't worry, let's work together to find a solution." Wuxia nodded and a warm current surged in his heart. He knew that he was not fighting alone, with little brothers and chubby people by his side, he had more courage to face unknown dangers. The three of them sat together and began to analyze the situation before them. Wuxia recalled his previous experience and felt a chill in his heart. Originally, their previous experiences going to the 7-star Lu Palace were all arranged by others. So now, have they fallen into another trap? The young man remained silent for a moment before slowly speaking, "We must find the secret of that ancient curse as soon as possible in order to get rid of this predicament." The fat man nodded and agreed, "That's right, only by unlocking the curse can we restore normalcy." Wuxia took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. He knows that the most important thing now is to stay calm, only by staying calm can they find a way out. The three of them decided to act together and search for the secret of the curse. They walked along the dark passage, each step full of unknowns and dangers. Strange noises could be heard from around, as if telling them that there was endless fear and despair hidden here. Suddenly, a cold and gloomy wind blew by, and Wuxia felt a chill surge from his feet to his heart. He tightly held the flashlight in his hand, the light flickering in the darkness as if it was their only hope. "Be careful." The young man's voice rang in his ear. Wuxia turned around and saw the fat man stumbling backwards, his face pale, and his eyes filled with fear. Wuxia and the young man hurriedly stepped forward to help the fat man, only to see a deep and bottomless trap under his feet. "This is..." Wuxia's voice trembled slightly. The young man's gaze was solemn. "This is the power of a curse, it wants to devour us one by one." The fat man took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. "We can't be intimidated by it, we must keep moving forward." The three of them held each other's hands tightly and continued to move forward. They walked through one trap after another in danger, finally arriving at an ancient stone gate. The stone gate is carved with complex patterns and texts, as if telling an ancient and mysterious story. Wuxia carefully observed these patterns and texts, trying to find clues within them. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he discovered a secret hidden in the pattern. He quickly told the little brother and the fat man the secret, and the three of them began to search for a way to relieve the curse together. After some effort, they finally found a way to lift the curse. Wuxia operated according to the method and saw the stone gate slowly open, shooting out a dazzling light. The three of them walked into the stone gate and a spacious hall appeared in front of them. In the center of the hall, there is an ancient stone tablet with a passage engraved on it. Wuxia carefully read this passage, feeling an inexplicable excitement in his heart. Originally, the secret of this ancient curse was hidden in this hall. Only by finding the secret on the stone tablet can the curse be completely lifted. The three of them began to search for the secret on the stone tablet, carefully studying the text and patterns in an attempt to find clues. As time passed, they finally found a crucial clue. Based on this clue, they began searching in the hall for items to lift the curse. After some effort, they finally found the item they needed. Wuxia picked up the item and began to lift the curse according to the instructions on the stone tablet. I saw a flickering light, and the entire hall was filled with mysterious power. Suddenly, a loud noise rang out and the entire hall began to vibrate. Wuxia knew that the curse had been completely lifted. The three of them walked out of the hall and saw that the sky outside had already lit up. They turned around and glanced at the mysterious hall, their hearts filled with emotion and happiness. Wuxia took a deep breath, feeling the fresh air and warm sunshine. He knew that they had successfully escaped from that terrifying cursed land. The three of them smiled at each other and hugged tightly together. They know that no matter what difficulties and dangers they may encounter in the future, as long as they unite as one, they will definitely be able to overcome everything. They returned along the original path, full of laughter, joy, and relaxation along the way. As they walked out of that dark cave, the sunlight shone on them as if welcoming them back to this beautiful world. Chapter 10. Guardians of Villages. You are listening at novel full.audio. The air outside is really good, with damp earth smell and light green, as if every breath is cleaning the fatigue and depression in the body. Wuxia took a deep breath, as if he wanted to suck the whole world into his lungs. He turned his head to look at the little boy and the chubby guy beside him, both of whom showed long-lost smiles, their eyes flickering with curiosity and longing for the unknown world. We've finally come out. The fat man couldn't help but shout loudly, his voice echoing in the open forest, with a hint of desolation and vicissitudes. The young man just nodded silently, his gaze deep into the distance. He knew that this was just the beginning of the expedition, and the secret of the 7-star Lu Palace was far from being revealed. Wuxia looked at the two and a warm current surged in his heart. They have gone through too many hardships, and finally they are able to be liberated at this moment. However, he knew that the real challenge was still waiting for them. At this moment, a deep engine sound broke the silence. Wuxia and others immediately looked cautiously in the direction of the sound source, only to see a black off-road vehicle slowly approaching. The car window slowly rolled down, revealing the face inside. It was the third uncle they had been searching for. When Wuxia saw third uncle, a complex emotion surged in his heart. He felt both excitement and comfort, as well as a hint of unease and doubt. Why did Uncle San appear here? How many secrets does he know about the 7-star Lu Palace? Uncle San looked at Wuxia and others, with a glimmer of satisfaction in his eyes. He got out of the car and patted Wuxia's shoulder, saying, "You did a great job. I'm proud of you." Wuxia's heart twitched, and tears flashed in his eyes. He knew that Uncle San's words contained too many meanings and expectations. However, he couldn't help but ask, "Third uncle, do you know the secret of the 7-star Lu Palace? Who was that mysterious phone call from?" Uncle San looked at Wuxia with a hint of hesitation and struggle in his eyes. He took a deep breath and slowly said, "There are some things that you can't understand now. However, what I can tell you is that the secrets of the 7-star Lu Palace are much more complex and dangerous than you imagine." That phone call was a warning and also a guide. After hearing this, Wuxia and others felt a palpitations in their hearts. They know that there are too many secrets and truths hidden in Uncle San's words. However, they also understand that now is not the time for further questioning. They need stronger strength and wisdom to uncover the secrets of the 7-star Lu Palace. So, Wuxia and others embarked on the journey of exploration again. They know that the future path is full of unknowns and dangers, but they also firmly believe that as long as they unite and move forward courageously, they will be able to uncover the secrets of the 7-star Lu Palace and uncover the truth behind that mysterious phone call. They walked through dense forests, climbed steep peaks, and finally arrived at an ancient village. The people in the village looked at them with a look of fear and awe in their eyes. Wuxia and others couldn't help but wonder, is there some mysterious connection between this village and the 7-star Lu Palace? They began investigating the history and legends of the village and gradually discovered an astonishing secret. That this village was actually the guardian of the 7-star Lu Palace. They have been guarding the entrance and secrets of the 7-star Lu Palace for generations, preventing outsiders from entering. Wuxia and others were shocked upon hearing this. They finally understood why Uncle San said those words to them. The secret of the 7-star Lu Palace is not only an ancient legend, but also a shocking secret that concerns the entire world.